So are we live? It says you are live. 'Cause I really just want to check the if everything's all good. The sound looks good. Okay, so welcome to Make It Happen Monday. Mate, it was a crazy start of the week. I was just talking on my stories as well on Instagram that um, for some people Monday is very dreadful, very lazy, very tiring. They're like, oh my God, it's Monday. But I don't know. For me, and I'm not saying this to brag or just to put up a facade or anything, but literally on Monday is the day when I feel very motivated because I feel like during the weekend, I'm pretty lazy, to be honest. And Monday is that when I was like, I'm gonna make things happen. I'm gonna get this done. So Monday is actually very busy for me because I try to do everything. I was like, just get things done, get this done, get that done. It's start of the week. Let's just sort everything out. So yeah, happy Monday. How was your weekend? And today, I actually wanted to talk about something which I follow, and I feel like is not a norm. People think otherwise, but at the same time, I feel like why are you wasting money, and why are you becoming going in a debt prison? Let's put it this way. So I really wanted to talk about rent vesting and what rent vesting is, and why should you consider it if you have not bought your own home yet. If you haven't bought any property yet and you're thinking about buying your first house, then what should you go buy a house to live in, or you should rent vest? So rent vesting, for people who don't know, because apparently I spoke to a few people and I thought that is a very known term, but a lot of people actually don't know about that. So rent vesting is when you rent somewhere and you buy a property for investment. You buy a property somewhere, you buy a property where you're not living, you're renting it out, but you're living in a place where you rent. So rent vesting. Ta-da. So yeah, so basically what rent vesting does is, obviously you're not buying your first house to live in. You're basically buying your first investment, and you're living in an area where you're renting. So look, just give me 1 second. Yeah, why do I actually think, let me just tell you why do I actually think this is something which, look, blows my mind. I am renting right now. I do not own this property that I live in. It's an investment. I rent this place. But that doesn't mean I don't have properties. I do have properties. So I'll give you an example of rent vesting. For example, you like an area which is very expensive, which is, let's say, it has $1 million properties. You really like that area, but you can't buy in that area because you do not have the budget to buy, which is fair enough. Look, uh, so what you do basically, instead of moving into an area where your budget basically allows, rather, let's say your budget's 500,000 and your budget allows to move way far from the city in a suburb where you can find cheap properties. So you buy a property, and instead of living in an area where you like, you move to that area further away because you wanted your own house. You don't like the place, you don't like the area, you just moved there because you wanted your first house, and this was the only area where it was affordable for you to buy the house. So instead of that, so what you basically do is, you buy a house, you have a $500,000 of a budget. What you do, you buy a house in an area where the numbers make sense, where the growth makes sense, where the rental yield makes sense, where the investment basically makes sense, no matter where that area is, no matter if that area is in your state or not. For example, if you're in Victoria and that suburb is in South Australia or Queensland or Western Australia, you buy it. You buy it because the numbers make sense. And instead of buying for a property to live in, you rent out a property in that same suburb where the purchase price was $1 million, and you rent it over there. So what you're basically doing, you're living in an area where you love that place, the schools are good, wherever, you've got mates over there, you've got family over there, you've got people you know over there, you just like that place, you live over there, you rent it out, and you buy a property where the numbers make sense. So two things happen. Number one, obviously, the investment property is going to grow, and that is going to get you, that is going to multiply and get you more properties. Look, I am explaining this as simple as I can, not going with those technical terms and stuff, really in layman term. Renting is always cheaper than buying, period. Renting a place is always cheaper than buying. That is why most of the properties around Australia are negatively geared. The rental is less than the repayments, because if you buy a property, you have to give that repayments of the loan that you've got, then you have to give the council repayment, council fees, then all the other fees, all these costs that add up. Instead of that, what you do, just rent out. It's cheaper. You rent out an area that you like, and you invest in an area where the numbers make sense. Apparently a lot of people are actually thinking about it. A lot of young couple that I've been speaking to lately, who most of them, some of them are my clients as well. So what they did, they're rent investing. They're like, why should they like to live in the city or closer to the city, but they can't buy in those areas? So what they do, they're renting. They're having fun. They're enjoying that area, that place, the house that they like over there. They're renting it out, and they've bought properties where the numbers make sense. Now what's happening? Number one, you're enjoying your life. You're living in the area that you like. Number two, you've actually spent money in an area where the numbers are making sense. So that is just going to grow and multiply and build that wealth for them in the future. Think over it. Think over it. Because it has been in our minds that the great Australian dream is to own your own house. But you still own the house that you're investing in. You own that place. You're just not living in it. Look, I really, really wanted to talk about this because I feel like a lot of people get stuck in that debt prison and get for 20, 30 years in a place where they don't like, and they just, it's really been in their head from generations that uh, it has been actually implanted in their head from generations that you really need to have your own place to live in. But look, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. You're living in the place, you set it up, you decorate it, you furnish it like it's your own place. You live in that place, and you just put your money where it's going to give you the returns. Me, look, when when we had our money to put to buy our first house, me and Anna, we discussed. We're like, look, we're not doing it. We are not buying a property to live in. We rather take that money, put it in an area and in the type of facet which makes sense for us. And that's what we do with our clients as well. Look, for young couples who come in, we're like, look, rent vesting, way to go ahead, build up your wealth, build up your future, and make, you can always get the dream house that you want. Right now, just rent that dream house. If you can rent that dream house, why just buy it? Why buy it? Why spend extra money? Why spend extra money every year and then save that money maybe for a trip, for travels, to spend time with your family, to travel, to tick off your bucket list, and to multiply that wealth, basically, from the investment that you're buying. Think about it, because the numbers, they do make sense. But does it make sense to you? If it does, hey, don't listen to anybody. Go ahead. But if it doesn't, that's fine. Buy your first house. It did make sense to me, and I did what I had to. So yeah. But look, I really wanted to keep this live very short so that I can just talk about rent vesting and leave you guys be. It's Monday evening. Day's almost finished, and I hope you guys have a really, really great week. And I'll see you next week with another live, another Make It Happen. Till then, have a great week.